All right, what's going on, everybody? It is Monday night, which means it is time for another episode of Recovery Revolution Live. So glad you're joining us tonight. I'm Brett. I'm one of the hosts of the show. I also have another podcast called Recovery Survey. I drop an episode every Wednesday. It's a little bit of a shorter form, usually about 30-minute episodes. So be sure to check that out. And as always, tonight's episode will be up as a podcast audio only form about an hour or so after the live is over. So if you can't sit and watch the video, but you can listen to it on the go, be sure to jump on your favorite podcast app and search for Recovery Revolution Live. We're also joined tonight by the fabulous JR Weaver. What's going on, JR?
Hey, living life. Another day.
And to introduce JR, if you don't already know JR, he is the author of the fantastic manifesto that I still have on my list to read. And he has recently won the 2021 Reader's Choice Award, the 2021 American Writers Award, the 2021 Literary Titan Award, the 2021 Royal Dragonfly Award, and he was a finalist in the 2020 International Book Awards. So that is JR.
Thank you.
A short.
I wasn't expecting all that, man.
Yeah, it's the new intro, man. You're part of it now. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in tonight's guest, Nicole.
Hello. Hi, everybody. How are ya?
Woo!
This is going to be awesome.
Absolutely. So glad to have you on the show tonight. And
Thank
we were
you
talking,
so much.
we were talking a little bit before we went live, and you were telling us all the different things you have your hands in. And I guess the first word that came to mind was like girl boss. And I figured I'd let you, I figure I'd let you do the introduction because I don't think I could do you justice.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So hello, everybody. I'm Nicole Curtis. I've been married for 18 years. I have two teenagers, a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. And I am just here to speak my truth, share my message, and hopefully have you leave a nugget tonight of hope, love, inspiration, and empowerment to be who you want to be, to do what you want to do, and to live life without limits. And you're not to ask for permission or seek for permission to do it, as well as never let your past define you moving forward into your future. And so with that being said, I retired, left my corporate job 3 years ago, started online as a social media agency owner. Throughout my life, in that, my business changed. I changed, became a powerhouse mindset coach for high-achieving women. I help them destroy their self-destructive thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. And I'll go into my story of why that is so important to me, and I'm passionate about doing that. And as of November 1, I left my agency and became partner and COO of She Rises Studios, which is an amazing company. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We have a Facebook group called She Rises Studios Community. And She Rises is all about empowering and inspiring women where they are in life and or in business. Through our educational platforms, our workshops, our courses, as well as utilizing our services of our podcast, our TV show, our public book publication services, our magazine, all kinds of different things to help women in business to own their power, speak their truth, and as well as to share their message all over the world and make their business grow. Is that good?
You've been really busy.
Oh man, yeah, it's been quite a journey. I also am a speaker, and I also just became an international bestseller of my recent book, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman. It was with me and 24 other amazing, incredible women from around the world that came together to write a book to share our stories, speak our truth, but also share tips and strategies of women globally to meet them where they are and to help them go where they want to go. So yeah, it's been quite a ride.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons that I reached out to you when I saw that. I was like, I got to get her on the show. I mean, we have such a heavy membership, female membership on the page, that you would be perfect to help
Oh,
them, because
thank
going
you.
through recovery, people often struggle and they're afraid. They kind of like set their own ceilings, and I'm like, no, you don't set a ceiling. Go for what you want in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, with recovery too, for me, I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse, heavy binge eating when I was a young teen into my early adult years. And I've escaped and overcome many toxic relationships in my life. And it was through those that I am who I am today. And I let that be okay. I let that be my story and allow that to be my story, because I think all of us have an important story to share, and we're basically writing chapters in our story. And so with going into 2022, I challenge you, what is your next chapter going to be? What are you going to allow it to look like? Because you are in charge of your life. You are in charge of your thoughts. You are in charge of the behaviors that you do. You are in charge of the beliefs that you have about yourself. And with a new year rolling around, you can literally flip your story, change your story, and start writing a new one today, right now, in this very moment, to project of what 2020 is going to look like for you.
So, any advice for a woman, newly sober, starting from pretty much rock bottom?
Mm-hmm.
What would you advise them? What would be your advice for someone like that?
Yeah. So I'll just take myself back to speak through my own truth and my own story. Being a child that went through a traumatic experience of child sexual abuse, as well as the whole binge eating, thing that happened. I think one of the most important things I can give you is, first of all, to breathe, to just allow yourself to take a deep breath and just sit in that for a minute. Give yourself that permission to just just to feel that in your body. And then for me, in regards to, my story is a little bit different than where you're at or where your story is. And that's okay, because we're different people, and that's fine. But to move forward, just I want you to look yourself in the mirror, and I want you to tell yourself that you love yourself. And I know in the beginning, it's probably going to be hard and it's going to suck and you're going to think it's stupid, but I challenge you to do that every day for the next 28 days. And I can guarantee it, by that 28th day, you're actually going to start believing it a little bit. And that is where the most importance is because if you don't love yourself, nothing else will seem to matter. Nothing else will seem to be working right. Nothing else will seem to be, working in your favor. But as long as you are your best friend and you love yourself first and you give yourself that permission to do that, man, I guess that's one of the tips I can share just right off the bat.
That's a great tip. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, so many people, come into recovery, and that's one of the things that they don't see, that aspect of their past life, that where, speaking, my truth is I hated myself back in my days for what I did, to myself, to my family, and everyone around me. So learning to love me was what changed the game for me. I mean, it helped me reach my goals, and I keep leveling up to the next level, and I love my life now. But it all started with, me looking at the guy in the mirror, saying, you're not such a bad guy for what you had to do to survive, so you got to learn to forgive yourself. And that way, you start loving yourself again.
I actually teach with the women, the clients that I serve, is a self-permission, a self-forgiveness exercise. And I want to share that here. And I want to challenge the women audience, the listeners here. Hi, I love you. You're awesome. I want you to take a pen and paper out, and I want you to just write out all of the crap that you have said to yourself. Write all about the things that you're doing to yourself or have done to yourself. I want you to write out all of the negative self-talk, ugly demon beliefs that you have about yourself. And I don't care if it's a page or if it's 6 pages long or if you have to stop in the middle and go back to it, but I want you to get all of that out of you. And then for me, I'm an outdoors chick. I like to hunt and fish and camp and all that kind of stuff. So for me, how I let it go is I actually went outside where we have our campfires, and I actually set that paper all on fire. And I had over 10 pages of just stuff just written out when I first started doing this exercise. And it was me lighting it on fire and just watching it just go and flames and ashes away, just gave me that breathing ability and opportunity to just release it, be released with it. And I honestly, from moving that day forward, I allowed myself to start being a new me. And that's where all that self-permission started, that self-awareness, that self-reflection. Just so many things started unraveling for me in my process of just not feeling worthless and not feeling like a failure and not worrying about feeling like I had to have expectations from everybody else and that I had to be somebody that I wasn't. And so, yeah, I have quite a bit of story in regards to all of that we can get into, but that's where one part of my journey of that personal growth and self-leadership started and has gotten me to be who I am today, sitting before you. Because I'm just going to be honest with you, there was days where I didn't get out of bed. There was days I didn't want to get out of bed. There were days where I knew I had loved ones needing me, and I didn't care because I had so much hurt and yuck and hatred of myself that I would look out my bedroom window and hate the feeling of knowing that it was morning, that I had to get up and I had to try to face the world. And in doing that, I had to put a fake smile on my face to look like I had it all and that I was all. And only to go back and lay in a bed and just feel just so depressed and anxious and worried and just feeling of just so much unworthiness and in so many different areas of my life, even though at that time I was in corporate and I had a great cushy job and, everybody just thought on the outside everything was great, but I put so much expectation and beliefs within myself to be somebody, to act a certain way. And then if I did act a certain way, you shouldn't really show that you're struggling. You just, push through. Right. So yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, I remember many days where I didn't want to get out of bed. I mean, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, and I know any one of those, any one of the symptoms for any one of those could knock me off my path. And so it's like I kind of forced myself the first year of my sobriety to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. And, just to show up, even when I didn't feel like it, even when my body was aching, I wasn't going to allow myself any excuses. And it kind of projected my path. It kind of set my new, what's the word I'm looking for? It said how my life was going to turn out. I mean, because I still get up around 5 o'clock every morning. And this is, it's been over 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just enjoy it now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not hard work anymore. I know that my depression is still out there. And so even when I say I'm going to sleep in on the weekend, I sleep in about 7:30.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely been an interesting ride, an interesting journey. One that I don't take for granted. I wasn't able to say it before, but I can seriously sit here and tell you that I had to go through and I had to have happen all of the things that did for a reason. And it's made me the woman that I am today. It's made me be strong and brave, to live fearless, to live unstoppable, to live courageous, to be imperfectly imperfect, and to just be me. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I have learned in my journey, just even over the last couple years, is really just giving myself the permission to let go of everybody else's thoughts and expectations and beliefs of who I needed to be and what I need to be doing, and just letting that inner guidance come and letting that be the voice that steers me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my Lord Jesus, Savior. And there's been times a lot in my life where I strayed away from him because I was so angry and I needed to blame it on somebody. So it was so easy for me to blame it on him in the beginning. But really what it all boils down to is taking that self responsibility, taking the responsibility of really looking at where you are and what you're doing, and then asking yourself those hard questions of, is this who you want to become? Is this who you want to be? Is this the life that you want to be living? And I'm not talking materialistic things like the house or anything like that. It's deeper than that. And asking those questions and allowing yourself to not just ask it, but to feel it, because that's when that real change and true change is going to happen, is when you actually feel those questions and you feel what comes up from that, and then decide where that's going to go. And so my chapter in the book, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman, is called Choose and Decide. And we can get into that if you want me to talk about what my chapter is about a little bit. I want to give it all away because I'd really like you to get the book to read it. But it was, there's a moment in my life where I hated getting up. I hated even trying to think that I had to get out of bed. I didn't want to face the world. I hated what I was doing. I hated the woman that I was. I hated being angry. I hated the relationship that my marriage was in. I hated the relationship that I had with my kids. I hated my relationship that I had at work with myself. I had so much hate. I was so angry. I was so angry at everything that was happening around me. And there was a moment in time where a few years ago, I found myself on my bedroom floor screaming into my pillow. And as I looked up, I had a mirror. And as I looked at myself in the mirror, I could not recognize the woman that I was looking at. And it was in that moment where I had not just heard God's voice, but I heard the girl in me, right? That was screaming at me for a really long time, but I would stuff it down and close it up because I didn't want to release that. I didn't want to come to realization of why I was where I was because I allowed myself to be there. And I remember looking in the mirror and not recognizing the woman that I was. And for the first time in my life, I asked myself the questions, and this is where that self-permission came into play, of, is this really the woman that you want to be? And is this really the life that you want to live? And I remember getting up and sitting on my bed, and tears are just flowing down my face, and I'm just bawling. I was so sick of my life. I was so sick of where I was in my life. I was sick and tired of being tired. And I knew that in order for me to move forward is that I had to choose to do that. And I had to decide that it was going to happen. And so that's what I write in the book, The Becoming Unstoppable Woman. My chapter is called Choose and Decide. And I go in there and I share some tips and some methods that I use on a daily basis, even today, to keep me moving forward, to keep me going, to keep me choosing, and to help me keep deciding. And so that's really where actually my journey began in that self-permission, self-love, self-worthiness, and allowing myself to take a step forward for me and for nobody else. And that is literally when my life changed.
Wow. That's similar to what I kind of went through. I remember during my darkest days, there was this voice in the back of my head that was like, what are you doing? You are so much better than this. And, it was crazy. Well, I thought I was going crazy. I'd be looking around like, did anybody else hear that voice?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was that voice that started planting those seeds to where I started to believe that, you know what, I am better than this. I shouldn't be in this dope house, doing all this. I have a family, friends that, they all want to see me get better, but it was something that I had built up in my head to where I needed to blame somebody. So I blamed everybody else, blame God, blame family, friends. And it wasn't until I sobered up that, I looked in the mirror, and then it was, it was all me. It wasn't anybody else holding me back. It was me holding me back.
Yeah. The choices you make and the decisions you make, it has everything to do with it. And, with recovery, there's so many different things within just that word. You have people like yourself that are in recovery from alcohol or drugs, but there's also, I believe too, that there's people in recovery in regards to unworthiness and lack of self-love and lack of just giving themselves a permission to be them. For me, overcoming child sexual abuse and binge eating, I'm still in my journey of not allowing myself to go back to that girl or to that woman that I was, having all the thoughts and the beliefs and the behaviors that I was doing. So for me, even to this day, I'm still recovering from that and keep pushing myself and moving forward, especially with the binge eating. When I was in high school and college and as a young adult, there was days where I would go 3-4 days and I would just annihilate myself on food, and then I wouldn't eat for a week. And it wasn't unusual for me to do that. And so it was just this vicious cycle of knowing what I was doing, but in a point not caring what I was doing, but also knew that it was wrong and I didn't want to keep doing it, but I didn't know how to get out of that. I didn't know how to move forward in that. And one of the ways in my journey of getting through that was the personal growth and self-leadership of really taking permission, really, taking responsibility, because no one's going to change you. You are the only one that's going to change you. And you have to allow that to happen. And you have to decide for that to happen. Otherwise, it's not. And I realized, and I got to a point where a lot of things was going on in regards to when I was binge eating, where I had that, okay, like this can't keep going. I can't keep going like this. Like this has got to stop. And it was, from that moment as well, moving forward, of just that choosing and deciding and not allowing. But does that still mean that today that I don't have those thoughts, or I don't, that I don't have those beliefs of going back to that? Absolutely. It's not a drug, it's not a drink, but I still have those thoughts of that cautious and feeling that, can I keep going? Can I keep being this? Can I keep doing this? And that struggle and that constant pull. So, I think for recovery, that it can mean so many different things for so many different people. For me also in my life, I hated myself for a very, very long time. And a lot of it was, I think, because of how I grew up in regards to the child sexual abuse, feeling like I always needed to be around. I needed, in order to be loved, to feel loved, I had to be told that I was loved, because I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know how to be okay with that inside. And so I searched for love in many different in many different forms, in many different kinds of relationships that I put myself in, because I didn't know how to be okay with me. I didn't know how to love myself. And so that often put me in terrible situations because I was just seeking love. I was seeking worthiness because I didn't know how to give it to myself. So my self-love journey has been a journey in itself. There's just so many different intimate parts to my story of where I was and what I've been working on and continuing to work on. Because, the thing about growth and change, personal development, self-development, leadership, self-leadership, all of that, is that it's always it's continuous. It's never ending. And I think for me, that's one of the things why I fell in love with it so early on and have been doing it for the last 12 years, and honing in on my skills and implementations, and, as well as teaching it and coaching others, is because without that, I wouldn't be who I am. But I enjoy growing. I enjoy evolving, because my mantra every morning when I wake up and I put my feet on the ground, I say, Lord, let me be better today than I was yesterday in all things, in myself, my marriage, with my kids, in my business, in my community, with my clients, whoever I touch today, whoever I have conversations with today, because it's continuous. It doesn't stop. It doesn't end.
Amen. All right. Okay. So back to the book.
Oh yeah.
Okay. 25 strategies, and yours is one of them.
Yeah.
So how did you find 24 other women? How did you pick them?
Yeah. Okay. So this is the story with that. So I ended up connecting with Hannah and Adriana back in May. I don't exactly remember how it all worked. I think Hannah did something in a Facebook group, and then about a book or something, and then I messaged her, and then I applied to be interviewed, or I filled some questions out, and I got an interview with Adriana, and then they got back to me and they said, "Hey, Nicole, we'd really like to have you in the Becoming an Unstoppable Woman book. Would you be interested?" And it is, I don't think there's any, God doesn't make mistakes. And this intervention, this intervening in my life of when this happened was a time of when it was supposed to happen and needed to happen, because a month before that, I remember sitting at my office, and I remember I was just so angry and frustrated at where I was in my business at the time, where my vision, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, what my purpose work was. And I just felt like I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't doing what I felt of what I could do. And so when I got offered the opportunity to be a co-author in the book, I saw it as the vision of, you know what, if I can just change one woman's life through a word that I write, or a sentence that I write, or a paragraph, or whatever, or not even me, any one of the authors, I want to be part of this, because I want to be part of something bigger. I want to be part of something global. And so I said yes. And so I started the process of becoming an author. And I've had thoughts of writing my own book before, but that was like on my 5-year vision board plan in my business. And so I wrote my chapter, and I sent it in, and then just building in the relationships with the other co-authors. I mean, we have women from UK, we have women from Australia, the Philippines, Canada, all over the States, in this book. And the beautiful thing is that all of us authors in this book, yes, we're from all around the world. Yes, we're in all different kinds of businesses. However, the core message and the core vision that we all have as women is to change the world. And just in that alone has made this book such a powerful book worldwide. And we all share we named all our own chapters, and we share parts of our story in it. And then we And then we share tips or strategies or methods that have worked for that individual to help them be unstoppable in life. So yeah, it's an incredible experience. And it's been a ride.
You were just out in LA.
I was, yeah.
I follow your posts.
Yeah. So as of November 1, I ended up joining the trio or the duo team to a trio team. So Adriana and Hannah are the founders of She Rises Studios, and they are an amazing mother-daughter team. I love those ladies so much. I don't want to cry, but they have such passionate hearts, and they're serving with so much purpose. And they actually started She Rises Studios last year in the middle of the pandemic. And it was all just about starting an Instagram page to just serve and love women, because in that time there was a need for women to come together, to love each other, to serve each other, to inspire each other. And so that's what they did. And a year later, it's grown to what it is now. We have the She Rises Studios podcast, which is on iHeartRadio and Spotify. It's one of the biggest podcasts nationally. It's incredible. So we have a podcast, and we have a She Rises Studios magazine, and we offer publication services. This book is book 1 of 6. Our next book is launching January 25 of 2022, called Becoming an Unstoppable Woman Entrepreneur. The next one is Becoming an Unstoppable Woman Mompreneur, which is going to be amazing. And we have one on finance and health and wellness and influencer. It's incredible. But we offer anthology books as well. And there's just so many different services that She Rises offers. And I think the whole point of it is that we want to meet women where they're at, either in life or in business right now. And if you need education, if you just need a community of women to surround yourself with, we're here for you. We have the She Rises Studios Facebook community. If you're a woman in business and you want to get your word out and be seen worldwide, then we have our podcast services, our magazine, our TV show, our publications. You can join us in book anthologies to help get you more visible and get your word out, your name out, your brand out, as well as your message. And so we're all about collaboration over competition. And one of the big things that Hannah and Adriana say all the time is we're just ordinary women doing extraordinary things.
Love that.
So yeah, we were in LA. Yeah, to go back to your thing. Sorry, JR, kind of went off on a tangent there. We are on we had our book tour started in Vegas. And so we are in Vegas for a few days. And then we actually got to go to LA. We were at the Grove in Barnes and Noble signing books, which is just an amazing monumental moment for She Rises Studios, as well as for the authors in the book. Because we are honestly the first anthology book to ever be able to do a book signing at Barnes and Noble, especially at the one at the Grove, because the Grove, I don't know if you know much about it, but that's mostly where all the celebrities go for their book signings. And so for us to be able to have the opportunity to be in LA, to be in that community, to not just sign books, but to actually have all of us speak of the authors that came, and do some Q&A session with the audience that came. It was beautiful. It was so empowering, not just for all of us, for the authors and for the She Rises team, but just for the people, and just being in that and just celebrating and lifting each other up and having conversations. It was so amazing. In March, we're going to be in New York. So that's coming up in 2022. We'll be at a couple Barnes and Nobles in New York doing some signings. And then the end of March, we'll be in Miami for another book tour for the book. And then since the second one launches January 25, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman Entrepreneur, we're also going to be joining in March on that book tour, but adding some more in. So Yeah, it's definitely been a crazy ride.
Sounds like it's about to get crazier.
Yeah, it is. We actually also have our the Becoming Unstoppable Woman Virtual Summit coming up January 7 and 8. It's going to be the She Rises Studios team as well as co-authors of the book coming in and doing speaking, and the lineup is just incredible. And this summit is for the women and helping them be met right where they're at. If you're a woman that is sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're a woman that wants to have a balanced life and work, if you want to have more consistency, more confidence, and more clarity in your life and business, this summit is for you. And so that actually, that summit actually, the registration for that goes live this coming Wednesday. So if you're interested in wanting to register for that, you can go ahead and connect with me. I think JR or Brett, you got some thing that they can go to find me. Yeah, there we go. You guys are awesome. So yeah,
we got Brett on the spot.
Yeah. If you want the early bird special for that, it's releases this Wednesday the 15th to sign up to register for that January 7-8 summit. It's only $25 from the 15th to the 29th. So I had to look at my calendar. So I didn't say the wrong dates, but from the 15th to the 19th, the registration for the summit's only $25. So it's 75% off the original price of $97. Yeah. So get it in this week because next week the price will increase 50%.
Okay. Yeah, if you can get that information out to me, I can pin it to the page.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's the She Rises team and the authors coming together to just help women in it's what do you need in 2022? Not what do you want? What is what is it that you want, that you need versus what do you want? And having so many different conversations with women on a daily basis, just me alone, women are sick of being stuck in life and business. They're sick of being inconsistent. They're sick of not having clarity. They're sick of not having enough courage to be brave, to be unstoppable. They want growth and they want change, and they just don't know exactly how to go about doing it or where to look for it. And so this summit is literally going to blow your socks off, what Hannah would say. And the lineup is just incredible. We're actually doing raffles of giveaways. Some of them are doing some coaching sessions and all kinds of different things. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be awesome, and it's virtual. So grab your friend besties or your business buddy besties and come in your PJs and grab, coffee or whatever and have a party at your house or whatever and learn. Grab your journals and learn. Because that's where change happens, right? I mean, I can't speak for you in recovery, but I can speak for me is that if you're sick of where you are and you know that you want something different, how you bridge that gap is knowledge and information. And so you better surround yourself with positive influencing people, like-minded people that aren't going to put you down, say ugly things about you, and make you feel like shit, and surround yourself with people that actually love you and encourage you and inspire you and want to lift you up instead of pull you down and push you down and stuff you down. And so this summit is a place where you can go and have that, of where you're going to be. One of our slogan, I guess, I mean, we have the Phoenix as our brand, but one of the things that we say is she rises, she leads, she lives. And so how are you doing that in life and in business today? And how are you wanting to do that tomorrow?
Exactly. I love it. I'll say sign me, Brett and I up.
Are we allowed to go to the summit?
No,
I don't think we are, buddy.
No, but your wife can.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the book for guys on how to understand women.
Oh, well, I'm still looking for a kid's handbook. I mean, I got 2 teenagers. I love them to death, but man, there's just times where I'm just like, wow, I don't even know. I don't even know how to do this today. I don't even know.
I got to give a shout out to Broken Chains Apparel for this awesome shirt. I love recovery. Brett's got on his.
Yeah.
David,
That's
you're the man.
Hi.
He's in the
So you guys
comments.
ready to do the book giveaway?
Yeah.
I'm ready if you
Brett's
are.
got an electric kazoo that he's going to.
I got a kazoo. I got some game show music.
This is fun.
Yeah,
And let's
I'm ready.
do this.
I'm ready.
Oh, this is so fun.
I got to remember how to share it. I got to remember how to share the screen. I don't know how to do it. Here we go.
Oh, Lindsay! Congratulations, Lindsay!
Gotta get the kazoo in at least once, right?
That's so awesome! Yay!
All right, congratulations to Lindsay on winning the book.
Woohoo!
Good stuff.
All right.
Yay!
Let me reach out to him so we don't run into that same issue we had from the other podcast. We gave away like 5 books on someone else's show, and tracking people down to get their addresses was a job.
Well, I actually know her, so I can just reach out to her.
Oh, okay. That saves.
Yeah, it'll save you some time.
Yeah, I know. I'm still looking for the person that won the silver mode hoodie.
Aww.
I've not seen her back.
Aww.
I mean, it was a sweet hoodie too.
Yeah. So you guys have like a whole apparel line? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, we have sponsors that
cool.
that hook us up. I mean, we help market their products. I mean,
that's so cool.
I mean, look at that. Of course, I paid for that one now.
Hey,
let me go into full screen for that one, JR.
It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a guy. Collaboration over competition, right?
Yep. I love recovery.
That's what it's all
Broken
about.
Chains Apparel.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. We meet some great people. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about recovery is the networking. You know, you never know who you're going to meet or how your relationship's going to build with them.
Yeah.
And so now, I got the end, the She Rises.
Yeah. We met in an authors group. I think I dropped info about my book, and I think you commented on it or whatever, and then you reached out and said, "Hey, I'd love to have you on a podcast." Podcast. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome."
Yeah.
Yeah. But you never know who you're gonna meet, why you need to meet, or why you do meet. But I think that's just the journey of it. That's just the beauty of it, because I think everybody does have a story to tell, and everybody's story has value and purpose in it. And so, yeah, I'm just honored and humbled and so grateful to be able to be here to speak to your women audience, to just share my truth, speak my truth, give my message, promote the book, to see if it can help a woman any time in any moment of their life or in their business, whatever that looks like. And so, yeah, it's just been a blessing and an honor to be here. I'm just so grateful for it.
Yeah. I love your, when you said, if you could just help one woman, get past that hump or become something better.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of take it when I start writing. Is if what I write can help one person get past, get one more day sober, then it's doing its job.
Yeah, absolutely. And your story is changing lives too, JR. Your story and your testimonial and where you've been and where you're going and even where you are now there's so much value in that. And even just, you know, a whole big piece or just a little piece, because there's going to be something that you say or a phrase that you say or a live that you do or a podcast that you do something's gonna come out of your mouth and it's gonna change their life forever. And there's so much
I hope so.
power in
I hope so. That is one of our goals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why the whole reason we brought the podcast to the page, because that was one aspect that we were missing. I'm like, people can only get so much out of the little quotes that we do. I'm like, well, let's do something live. Let's change the game. I mean, I've seen these podcasts taking off. So we've got a big audience. You know, it took 3 years to get to where we're at. So let's change the game, bring the podcast in. That's when I met, I saw Brett posting his recovery survey. So I watched a few episodes. He's got a little bit of talent. I'll bring him in, even though he's got that big red beard.
I love it. No, I like the wood in the back and the camo hat, Brett. So
Thank
we're
you.
good. You know, for a small town country girl that, you know, for me, I've always dreamed big. I've always envisioned big, but I think in my life, I allowed so many people and things to just squash that and to just, I got so used to just putting it in a box inside of me and not letting it come out. That it's fun being able to be a visionary again. It's exciting to dream big and to know that even if you miss it, it's okay, but it's something to strive for. It makes you better. It makes you a better person. It makes you better in everything. And so, but yeah, so when I came on and I'm just a small town country girl with a big dream, right? Just to change lives, one life at a time, any way that I can. And so I'll do that however I need to do that. But yeah, I'm a country girl at heart. So I loved it when I came on and here's a bearded dude with the wood thing in the back and the camel hat. I'm like, yeah, you're my people.
Hey, that's a green screen behind him.
Oh, well,
it's not a green screen.
I like the wood though. It's awesome.
It's fake, but it's not. It's a wood print.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
Well, we loved having you on our show today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I've learned a lot. Hopefully, our women viewers will pick up the information and sign up for your class.
Yeah, I'll get you the summit information. Once that drops on the 15th, I'll get it for you.
Okay.
And then you guys can do what you want with it. But I appreciate you offering that and, so much gratitude. So thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you to your listeners, to the women. I just want, before we leave, if I could say just a few words, if you don't mind, JR and Brett.
Go for it.
I just want you to know, first of all, that you're beautiful and that you are worthy and that you do matter. And I know right now it might be hard and it's tough and you're struggling or things might be going really well right now and you're just kind of unsettled because you're waiting for it to take a turn. I just want you to know that right now that you are loved and you are perfectly perfect just the way you are in this very moment. And I'm so, so proud of you. And I just want to let you know that make your life how you want it to look and how you want it to be. Give yourself the permission to put you first. Love yourself first. Don't allow somebody else to tell you what you need to do or who you need to be. Just be you because you are enough.
Amen. It was that one to me and Brett, right?
Oh yeah.
You still got something to say?
You guys are awesome. High five. Keep going. Don't stop.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
And remember, progress, not perfection. I got it in this time. I forgot last time.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I so appreciate it.